Thank you very much. I am absolutely delighted to be here today. My campaign kicked off about a week ago, a little over a week ago, and I've been all over the state. And this is the first event that I've had that was within 3 miles of my hometown. So I'm glad to be here, and on behalf of my wife and I, Maureen, we want to welcome you to Powell, Ohio. And as was alluded to earlier, this is probably the safest Powell's been in the 19 years I've lived here. So thank you very much for that. Since announcing my candidacy, I've had many people ask me my beliefs concerning gun rights. I think it's an important issue, and I think it deserves a straight answer, and I'm delighted to have the opportunity to be here today and to discuss that with you. So I'm going to take just a few moments, because I'm a political unknown, I'm a career prosecutor, I'm not a career politician, to let you know where I stand on this very fundamental issue. I graduated from the United States Naval Academy in 1970 and served over 2 decades as a naval officer, including service in Vietnam. I am a retired Navy captain, and I can tell you that after more than 2 decades in the military, guns are not an academic concept to me. I'm familiar with, and I've trained on a wide variety of guns, ranging from heavy weapons and warships, the M16, the Beretta M9 pistol, so I'm very, very familiar with weapons. Here's another thing that I understand about weapons and guns, and I think it's very important. The right to bear arms in this country does not come from the government. It comes from God. Politicians and bureaucrats should not be the ones deciding whether or not you have the right to defend your family and protect yourself. You understand that? Are you agreeing with that? Yeah. Would you also agree that the Second Amendment is a sacred individual right that shouldn't be infringed upon by politicians or judges? Would you agree with that? Well, as we've heard, the good news is, fortunately, the United States Supreme Court earlier this year has agreed with us on that, and that's good news. But there's also potential bad news, and I think we need to be eternally vigilant about this, ladies and gentlemen, because the vote was 5-4. That means that one judge's heartbeat away from that decision being reversed and going the other way. So we can never let our guard down, and we need to be eternally vigilant about the people that we elect to our highest offices, about the people that we put on our United States District Court benches, our Court of Appeals benches, and specifically the United States Supreme Court, so that right is forever protected in this country. Amen. Amen. We must be very, very careful that we only elect those leaders who will commit to this cause without waffling and without weaseling. And I'm here today for your consideration as a leader who will stand with you and support you, not just at the picnic today, but every year from now on out that I have the privilege of serving this state as the Attorney General. I don't know how you feel about this, but I can tell you that I'm sick and tired of career politicians who pretend to be with us when they want the endorsement, and then the day after they get the endorsement and the day after they're elected, they go ahead and begin to waffle and weasel and backpedal. So I ask you to be very, very careful about the people to whom you give the endorsement in this particular case. And the problem, ladies and gentlemen, is not the problem of one party. I'm not suggesting that at all. There are too many career politicians in both parties for my liking. And that's why I'm proud to be a career prosecutor and not a career politician. For 21 years, I've had the privilege of serving this nation and also this state as a career prosecutor, as the United States District Attorney under President Reagan and under President George Herbert Walker Bush, as Assistant County Prosecutor, as an Assistant United States Attorney, as an Assistant United States Attorney, Organized Crime Drug Task Force, as well as City Prosecutor. I could go on and on and on. I have had the privilege of serving for 21 years at all levels of government as a prosecutor. And I'm proud to tell you as I stand here today that I have more prosecution experience than the last 7 Attorney Generals combined. And I can tell you as a result of that, as a prosecutor, I've learned one thing. We don't have a problem with too many guns in this state. We have a problem with too many criminals walking the streets willing to use the guns. Now, if you're like me, you're worried about violent crime and protecting your family. And the way to keep them safe is not to allow the trial lawyers of the state of Ohio and the United States to sue our gun manufacturers. The answer, quite simply, is to enforce the mandatory minimum penalties for criminals who use guns. Put them in prison for a very, very long time. And when a tragedy of violent crime strikes, we must remember to place the blame where it belongs. Not on the gun, not on the bullet, not on the manufacturer, and we know darn well the Second Amendment isn't to blame. When somebody's the victim of a crime in this state, we need to understand there's only one place where the blame rightfully falls, and that's on the criminal. Not on the gun, not on the bullet, not on the manufacturer. Too many career politicians want to punish law-abiding citizens for the actions of a few criminals. As your next Attorney General, I pledge to you that I'll change the attitude to one that makes life easier for those who follow the law, and I promise you that I will make life a lot more difficult for those that don't follow the law. I'll work with local law enforcement to protect Ohioans from predators of every kind, violent criminals, con artists, and crooked politicians looking into treading on our constitutional rights. Now, very briefly before I end, let's talk a little bit, my friends, with the concealed carry permits. Your right to carry a concealed weapon is not just protected by the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution, it's also protected under the laws and under the Ohio Constitution. Our state constitution says very, very clearly, the people have the right to bear arms for their defense and security. Period. No condition. It's that simple. As Attorney General, I pledge to you that I'll make it easier for you to go through concealed carry permit application processes. I'll set up a toll-free hotline, an email address, where you can report anyone standing in the way of your lawful right to go ahead and have a concealed carry permit. I'll also work to improve reciprocity with other states, so that when you and your loved ones are traveling out of the state of Ohio, your ability to carry concealed extends to as many states as possible. We face a critical time here in Ohio. The Attorney General's office was less than a fine mess thanks to the incompetence and corruption of a career politician by the name of Mark Dan, and we need a career prosecutor to clean it up. When I was the United States Attorney here in Ohio, I took my oath of office very seriously. And if you elect me Attorney General, I'll take that oath just as seriously. And when I solemnly swear, as I take the oath of office, to uphold the Constitution, you'll know that I'm planning to uphold every part of it, including the Second Amendment and all parts of it as it relates to concealed carry and weapons. Thank you very, very much.